Yeah, the jig is up, man. People can't really afford the mortgages anymore. And just P.S. All the people in the first video, I really do appreciate you guys answering my questions. Just proves I wasn't really ready to buy a crib yet because there's a lot of things I just didn't know. So I do appreciate you guys putting me on. And it actually makes me think that maybe buying a crib really isn't the best idea. And maybe it's not what it's cracked up to be. Because check this out. That same payment that can escalate primarily based off of the property taxes and the insurance, you could be putting that into index funds, investing it, and you can get a way better return on that money that you invest over, the crypto payment, but on the or over the mortgage payment or whatnot. But on the flip side, though, with renting a property, you do have the freedom to go as you please, get out of your lease. You maybe have to pay like 2 months of rent or whatnot. Maybe you have a job opportunity in another state, even overseas. You can just go. You can get up and go. You got to pay a little fee, but you can get up and go. With the house, you're kind of tied to that. You're going to have to keep paying the mortgage or find a tenant to go in there. So there's pros and cons of both. On the flip side too, when you're renting though, your money's just not really going to anything. And that same money that you could be using to pay your rent could be actually going into equity and actually building something. You build an equity and actually into eventually owning something, i.e. a house. But the thing is, with the house, you really got to know all the ins and outs of what could potentially happen, whether it's HOA fees, mortgage escalations if you're on a variable mortgage, or which everyone should probably be on a fixed mortgage. So just the only real outliers if you're in an HOA is the HOA fees, the taxes, and really just the insurance, PMI. And PMI too if you didn't put 20% down, and the actual just like insurance premiums like through, just home insurance. But I said all that to say thank you guys, because you guys kind of put me on, and I guess I wasn't really ready to buy a house. But let's just get right into it, man.
That she couldn't buy a house, even though she had 2 jobs, had $100,000 to put down, and had a 700 plus credit score. I'd actually approved her about a year ago to...
Hold up. Let's run that back.
So I had to tell this woman today that she couldn't buy a house, even though she had 2 jobs.
All right, so she can't buy a house with 2 jobs, $100K down payment, and 700 plus credit score. Wow, that's where we're at. You got $100K cash to put down, and over 700 credit score, and you still can't. And this guy said he had to fucking turn her down. Let's hear this, man.
Had $100,000 to put down, and had a 700 plus credit score. I'd actually approved her about a year ago to buy a $500,000 or $600,000 house, and she'd had a great job, making about $150,000 a year. In the last year, what had actually happened was she had decided that she wanted to go from full-time to part-time at her main job, and she'd picked up a second job in a different field, and she'd only been there for about 6 months. So what I really had now was somebody working at one job for several years, had been part-time for about a year, and a second job that was part-time in a different field that she'd only been doing for 6 months. And even though the combined income that she was making was pretty close to the 150 she was making before, I couldn't use the second job at all because she didn't have a history of 2 jobs for 2 years. Maybe I could have got an exception if she'd had 2 jobs for 1 year, but that would be...
I mean, and those are just stipulations with getting these loans, man. At the end of the day, I'm sure these lenders are cracking down, especially right now, and they just want to make sure they get people in homes that actually can make the payments, man. So it makes sense.
An exception. At the end of the day, I told her she has to be on the second job for at least a year, and
it's a dumb requirement, though, man.
See if we could get an exception for her to buy the house that she wanted. If I couldn't, she would actually have to wait 2 years to be on both jobs in her current situation.
I went down a rabbit hole
that's stupid,
because I checked Facebook, and now I know why you and I are never going to own a house. So why every person who's been trying to buy a house has been outbid by like $100,000, if not more.
Honestly, though, bro, based off what I'm hearing, bro, this whole home ownership thing is kind of overrated, bro. I think you can get a better return putting that money elsewhere, bro. But the only flip side is that you're going to have to waste your money on rent. And it kind of is a waste because that same rent money could be building equity money, but just the things that come with owning a house in 2025, I guess, I don't know if it's really worth it. Let me know in the comments if you think owning a house is worth it in 2025, though, for real.
15% of the homes sold last year were not sold to people trying to buy a house, but they were sold to private corporations and people buying their second and third houses. And this happens most in southern cities and way more in predominantly black neighborhoods. 1 in every 4 houses in Atlanta. 24% of the homes sold in Miami. 1 in 4. And look where. You can see the concentration. Charlotte, North Carolina, 25%. Insane. 1 in 5 in Phoenix. And this is actually how I figured this out, because a girl that I know that I used to work with bought her 3rd rental property there. There were cities where it was lower, but even within that, you can see this trend. Chicago is the most segregated city in America, and the majority of homes that were purchased by investors are in the predominantly black area of the city. 15% nationwide, 30% in black neighborhoods. This is past late stage capitalism.
Really though, Chicago is the most segregated? I mean, I guess okay. That does actually make sense. No white folks is gonna be wanting to be on the South Side, bro. Even near the South Side, bro. I'm not even white, and I wouldn't want to be near the South Side, so that makes sense.
Affordable housing and homeownership in general seems like a fantasy. It's been brought to my attention that we need to properly define what affordable housing is, because I am tired of us screaming at these boomers until we're blue in the face over the fact we all know that renting right now for the foreseeable future as well is more affordable and cheaper than owning/buying a home. And this isn't just like a discovery I've personally made. This is like a really well-researched topic, and there's like a million different articles you can find about it. And the fact of the matter is times are changing rapidly. Yes, even back in 2020, it was still cheaper technically to buy if you could qualify. But nowadays, in most places, it is cheaper to rent and more affordable. And you'll notice mostly the people arguing that this isn't true are most people who bought before like 2023, or the people who are literally trying to sell the houses to you. Like homelessness statistics haven't reached one of their highest rates ever for no reason at all. So let's talk about what affordable housing is defined at. Not subsidized housing, affordable, just like the average person or even slightly below average can afford. And they say that's usually about 30% of the gross income for your house. And that is including utilities and taxes and whatnot. Okay, so the average person in the United States on both salary, interestingly enough, and hourly is bringing in roughly $4,600. 30% of that is roughly $1,400. So that's how much you can afford to pay after mortgage, taxes, utilities, all of that for your house. Which means the price of a home we could consider affordable is $150,000. In most places in the United States, good freaking luck finding a decent home for that price, because the median price of a home in the United States is almost $400,000. That's like 3-4 times that price. And again, even a $300,000 home is assuming you have $48,000 to put on a down payment that day that you walk in. Average American household, like collective, had $41,000 in savings. That's not even enough. And the median number was $5,000. So depending on how you like to pick your numbers, neither of those are making the cut. To add insult to injury to this number being considered what's affordable, this is the average price of apartments here in Minnesota before utilities. So a 1-bedroom isn't even technically affordable. But yes, paying $1,900 a month and then $100 for utility is going to be considerably cheaper and way more attainable for the average person. And being able
Those rent prices in Minnesota are fucking cheap. For real. In comparison to where I'm at, I'm in Denver, Colorado. Like, that's fucking cheap, bro.
to throw down almost $50,000, and then on top of that, continuing to pay $1,900 a month, and then $300 in utilities. You got home repairs going on there. You got property taxes after that. I'm so tired of the tone-deaf argument of, but equity, right? In 30 years, you'll have a home you can sell. The people who are worried about money, who need the affordable housing, who can't even afford to qualify for this, they're not the same people who can afford to buy a home and then sit around and wait 30 years for that investment to finally sort of maybe possibly pay off and or break even. There is no equity.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a good point, especially like possibly pay off or break even, because as we've seen in the last video, there's a lot of hidden costs of home ownership, you know what I'm saying? So like, granted, I think in most cases it'll be a net positive, but you got to understand, like, every repair, every maintenance, everything if you need to get your roof replaced, okay, that's 12, 15, depending on the size of the home. Painting every 7 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, this stuff adds up. Do I think overall it'll be a net positive? Yes. But there's a lot of hidden cost of home ownership that a lot of people don't really understand. You know, myself included, even in that last video when I got put on game. So like, yeah, man, I mean, it's a lot more, there's a lot more that goes into it than people realize.
we can't afford. And if buying a house was really cheaper and easier than renting right now, we would all be sitting around in homes currently. I hope this clarifies it. Like, if you can buy a home right now and not like stress about it a ton like the rest of us, you are doing better than like the average US citizen. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? We're not coming for you, but like, don't be so blindly ignorant to this privilege that you just assume everyone else can also do it and we're doing something wrong when we can't.
The average millennial is 36 years old. They can't afford to buy the house. So therefore, their future self is poorer. If they think of how much of the stock market they can buy less with their money. They have less savings. They've got debts from university. So they don't have the ability to get out of this trap. And then what we are finding is because of this, they're having to live with other people into their 30s. They don't have kids and they don't get married. And these numbers have collapsed since 1983. You've seen these numbers come down from people living on their own. So i.e., you could get your job, get yourself an apartment, has gone from 80% to 62%. You're seeing the marriage rate halve. You're seeing the home...
Man, I guess things all around the board are just trending. Meow. What can you do? So keep faith, keep faith, keep faith. Thank God, and I gotta keep faith. I think we're still good.
Ownership rate go from 50% to 30%. These are all expressions of the same problems, which is people know their future is fucked and they can feel it. They have a sense of desperation. You see then the same cohort of kids in their 30s doing 2 jobs, 3 jobs, 4 jobs. That's not because they want to.
Man.
Nobody wants to work 12-hour days, 7 days a week. It's because they have to. And their parents, the baby boomers, who are in their 70s and retiring, never had that. They were the richest generation the world had ever seen. So this is the first generation.
I see why they be saying like the boomers are they just are so out of touch because they just grew up at the exactly perfect time. Like, I'm not gonna lie, if any generation has it the worst, it's gonna be our generation, man. It's gonna be Gen Z, bro. We got this shit the worst, man. We literally grew up in the worst time ever. Or actually, let me flip it this way. We grew up in the best time ever to have no dating options, to be looked at as a disease and a second-class citizen because average nowadays is just fucking like you might as well just cut all your arms and legs off because that's who you are, a second-class citizen. 2, we grew up in the best time to work your ass off, make it more money than your parents did, and still can't even fucking afford a crib and afford basic things in life. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's man, things are just trending downwards, man.
Won't be as rich as their parents. And that's a weird thing because we're all used to human progress, the American dream. If the American dream is, well, you'll never be as wealthy as your parents and they were middle-class people and I'm now less well off than them, that's kind of fucked.
Saw this meme and it was boomers in the 1970s buying their home with 6 raspberries and an almond, and it was like these boomers dancing in a conga line, and like I do think it's funny like
totally
there was like
it's like my biggest financial mistake was not buying real estate in the 1980s.
Yes, like and then I saw another one. It was like a picture of like a baby in someone's womb, and it was like me relaxing and not saving for my home.
I don't know, bro. It's just like when girls conversate with each other, it just kind of seems so fake, bro. It just seems like they're really just putting on a damn show. They're not, like, they don't know how to chill the fuck out. Like, and just be themselves, bro. Especially the girl in the bottom. I don't know. I just had to put that
little did I know is the last time.
Yeah,
and I know we're talking about college too, but like, it's so difficult, I think, with finances. People feel confused. They have student loans. They have all these things. And it's like, do I just stay at home and eat rice and be miserable? Or do I take like a trip? I have a friend who has thousands of dollars of student debt, and she's like, do I just not travel until I'm 50 and I have these things paid off?
Yeah.
It's kind of an impossible situation. To answer your question though, going back to mortgages, so the Fed wanted people to have less money. They wanted things to feel tighter, and the hope was that people are going to spend less money and that's going to ease inflation. It's going to bring it down. When you have less money, that means you're going to see prices not decrease, but you're going to see prices increase less quickly. That in turn meant it's more expensive to borrow. So that meant for somebody, if you wanted to buy, let's say, $1 million house, instead of paying $50,000 or $30,000 in interest each year, you're going to be paying closer to $100,000.
Wow.
And when you get that loan to buy a house,
all right, I take that back. Now she's acting normal and she's actually spent some game.
You think like, oh great, I'm going to start paying for my house right away. No, that money that you're spending on your mortgage every month doesn't actually go to your house initially. initially it just goes to pay the interest.
Right.
Wow.
You guys put me
for
on
the
game
loan.
last video, so I
could
appreciate you guys
potentially
for
have lived
that.
in your house for a couple years, and it's very possible that during that time you were literally just paying the bank interest for the
Bro,
privilege
that's-
of having.
Like, I mean, bro, I don't know, bro. Is homeownership really worth it then, man? Unless you're literally got the cash literally just in a duffel bag, bro. Here you go. Just paid in full. Is it really worth it? I don't know, man. Kind of seems a little bit like a scam. Just a little.
So I said to my husband, I don't understand why everyone keeps saying that millennials can't buy homes when we live in California and literally all of our friends, not all, but most, own a home.
What, a shack for $1 million? Continue, though.
We're millennials, our friends are millennials, and a lot of them own a home. So he's like, okay, like who? So I started listing off our friends who own homes, and every single one of them, he was like, they got help from their parents. They got help from their parents. Their parents gave them money. Their parents gave them money. Their parents helped them. And
At 30 years old, or whenever they bought their house, because they could have been in their 20s. But, like, I mean, what millennials are like, what? Like, what, 29 to like, what? I don't know, what age? Because I know I'm on the cuff. I'm 27. So if I was born a year earlier, I would have been technically a millennial. I say I'm both. I'm a millennial and I'm Gen Z. Let's just say that. But, so 29 or 28 and up or whatnot, depending on, probably, we'll just say 29 because there's people who were born in 97 that are 28 now. Getting money from their parents. Yeah, that would never happen for me.
that includes us. We have a home because his parents helped us. But nobody talks about it. I feel like people want to pretend like they can do it on their own when literally I don't think any millennials own a home without their parents' help. And
Especially
that's
not in Cali, man. I guess not. Especially not in Cali.
privilege to even have parents who can help you. Yet we don't talk about it. We kind of pretend like we're doing well. We own a home. Yup. Just skip over.
I don't know, man. Is owning a home really doing well, though, bro? I get it. It seems like the qualifications are a lot steeper now. But is you really doing well, or is it just really just a status symbol, bro? You know what I'm saying?
Skip over that. There's no way we could do that without our parents' help.
This video is for all my other 25 to 35-year-olds. Is everything just going to be impossible for us? I mean, I can't buy a house. I can't. I've put in offers on 2 different homes. One of them wasn't even reviewed. The other one, we were in second. We didn't get it. And every house that I put on my list ends up being pending or it's already gone. It's already under contract the next day. So I am just feeling exhausted and I'm ready to give up. I just think maybe I'm just not supposed to have a house. I'm 29. I have a baby. I'm married. I'm ready. And I think our generation is just getting screwed. I mean, even this car, I had people quoting me like 4 times the MSRP price on this car. Why are we in this? Why can't I just get a regular MSRP price? No, everything is extreme. Everything. You can't. Inflation, all these things, since I've been an adult, ready to do adult things, are literally out of control. And I need to have rant because I'm just sick of it. I'm ready to give up. It's like I'm just gonna rent the rest of my life because.
But bro, honestly, if you put money in other things, bro, you're gonna get a way greater return on it than fucking. You can just invest in yourself, bro. You're gonna get a way greater return on that than fucking owning a crib, bro, and a lot faster too. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's just kind of this brainwashing thing, like you're supposed to own a house and own a kid, the white picket fence with a dog, and you're good. But like, bro, those days is kind of behind us, bro. So we gotta, it's new standard. It's new. There should be new standards now. You know what I'm saying?
These people are out of their minds. I just went to an open house, and this house was a dump. It was disgusting. It gave me the ick. It was so dirty. They didn't put any time into cleaning it. It looked disgusting. There was crap on the wall. I mean, just
hell no. You had Jumanji smearing shit all on the walls and shit. God damn it, man.
It smelled bad. And they had that house listed at $425. I wouldn't pay $250 for that house. I would not pay $250 for that house, and that house was at $425. It's the end for our generation. It's just the end.
This is the reason why most people in London are never going to be able to buy a house unless they get it through inheritance or they have insane corporate jobs earning £250,000 a year or more. All right, the first big topic is rent. Most people are renting while they're saving for a deposit. The problem in London is that rents are absolutely through the roof, and the majority of your money that you earn and that you're trying to put aside to build your deposit for a property is being spent on rent. So if you're spending that much money on rent, you don't have enough surplus to then start stacking and afford a deposit for a house. So you're in a cycle of just paying your rent, having to live somewhere, paying your rent, and then not being able to save for a deposit. And it just lengthens the time and the age at which you're able to buy a property. And just makes things really, really, really hard. Most people's mortgage payments would be on par with the rent that they're paying for the similar property that they're staying in. So for most people who are renting a property right now, their mortgage payments, if they had a mortgage on it, would be probably lower or same as the rent which they're paying. The problem is people can't afford to save for a deposit because they're paying so much in rent. And also the mortgage applications typically lend you 4.5 times your yearly salaries. So for a lot of properties in London, you're looking at zones 2 to 3, you're looking at £750,000 plus. Let's say your household income is £100,000. You can then borrow £450,000. So your deposit would have to make up the rest, which is £300,000. Who do you know who has a £300,000 deposit? So this is fundamentally the massive problem when it comes to living in London and buying property in London. It's just very, very difficult for anyone to get on the ladder. And then once you do, you know, all of your savings have been depleted to go into a house. And in my opinion, I like to have investments. I like to have things that do go up in value aside from property. And you just have no more exposure to stock market, crypto, or any other hustles you got going on. So all of your money's tied up in your house, and essentially you are house rich but cash poor. Yeah. And for me personally, that's never a situation that I want to be in because it's just not favorable. So let me know. Do you agree with my points? What are your thoughts?
I do agree with that shit. It's really not favorable, bro. But it all just ties into the brainwashing, and people want to, myself even included for a little bit, people want to fit that mold, bro. People want to get that crib, bro. It's like status, bro. It's like wearing a rollie, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a status thing, bro. But is it actually more helpful? Depends on your situation, right? But I think you can make, I think if you're treating it like an investment, right? Which I don't think most people really are. That's part of it. Most people are doing it just for the status symbol aspect. But I'm thinking about it as an investment. If you treat it like an investment, you can get your return on your money a lot faster, more, by just really investing yourself, number one, and two, other avenues like he mentioned.
Housing market in London, do you think it can be helped or solved in any way?
So this is going to upset a lot of people, but I believe if you are over the age of 25 and you cannot buy a house, it is nobody else's fault but your own. So I am currently 31 years old, and right now I own 11 homes. My wife and I have actually done 14 real estate transactions because we've sold a few of them, but about 70% of those properties we bought in the last 3 to 4 years. So if you are currently one of those people who says that you can't buy a house due to house prices increasing or interest rates or whatever else, let me ask this. Number one, what is your location? Where do you choose to live? Because yeah, although the median home price in California is over $1 million now, the median home price in the Midwest is in the 200s. But what if you don't want to move? Well, what about moving an hour outside of the main city and living in a suburb somewhere? There are homes all across the country for $125,000 to $150,000.
Damn, okay, so location is a big thing, but the thing is, a lot of people ain't gonna be willing to do that because of status. I don't want to live in fucking Missouri. I'd rather live in LA. Which, honestly, if I had to choose between the two, I would definitely rather live in LA too. And I'm not even bougie, and I hate Cali. But I hate Cali so much, but I would rather live in Cali than Missouri any day of the week.
I know this because I bought some of them. The other problem I see is that too many people want a turnkey property. This is a property that they can just move into right away. It doesn't need much of anything. I have never purchased a property that did not need major cosmetic updates. Even just the last house that we purchased, we picked up for $225,000. My wife and I renovated over the course of 5 weeks. We painted, we floored, we did tile, we did countertop, we added a deck, we did all these things.
Well, there you go, bro. I mean, there you go. It sounds like he's really in that game, bro, and he's stacking up properties. There you go, bro. I mean, there's always people who say you can't, and the doom and gloom, and then there's people who actually have solutions. So salute the rental cash flow, man. I can rock with the energy, bro.
About $25,000 of our money into it to increase the value, and now it's worth over $300K. And then lastly, there's too many people who want to look rich but not actually be rich. Whether you're driving a nice car or you're not willing to live in a less expensive house because...
Hey, rental cash flow, you the man, bro. I'm rocking with you, bro. I'm rocking with you, bro.
You want it nice and you want it now. I'm just saying, I understand that all situations are completely different, but if you want it bad enough, you would make it happen. Either find a way to live well beneath your means, find a way to move a little bit.
You know what I'm saying? No facts, bro, because I'm not going to lie, this TikTok platform, yeah, you know, I like reacting to it because of, you know, because most people are in this, most people would rather complain than to think of solutions, bro. That's just what it is. So, shit, my audience may not like solutions. Maybe we just want to vent together, you know what I'm saying? But I'm definitely on this guy's side when it comes to his approach to stuff. You know what I'm saying? And when it comes to his approach to life. But he's treating this all as investments, though. He's not doing it like the status. He's not doing it as status. So that's the difference here. He's treating it all like an investment. And he's willing to do things people aren't willing to do to make this shit happen. Like moving to undesirable locations, you know?
Outside of the city that you're in, or find a house that you can fix up. But I still fully believe that home ownership is attainable for anyone who really wants to have it.
You're not going to be able to buy your parents' house is perhaps one of the most unfair but realistic things I can tell you about most real estate markets right now. And it's largely because your parents are still living in that house. The housing and economic structures we've built over the last 30 to 40 years have led us to this point. And here are some things to think about. First, wages have not kept up with inflation or the cost of housing. So unless you're making more than your parents did at a comparable age, the house is going to be more expensive in real terms to you than it was to them. Next, houses have gotten progressively larger over the years, and what we've wanted in houses, very reasonably so, has gone up. But a lot of the suburbs, the subdivisions, they were already divided, right? And we're not building as many new subdivisions and suburbs or cities. And houses already exist. So you could add density and infill, but then the houses are going to be smaller than what you might want or be accustomed to. People reasonably want to age in the communities that they've developed and live in right now. Many do want to move or downsize, but it's not always possible, and it's not always possible at a reasonable cost. Now remember, when a lot of these homes were built in the 70s, 80s, 90s, those were new houses. Like maybe you were the first or second owner. Now if you're buying them, even if somebody has maintained them well, they are older homes. So what you're really looking for is you're looking for a house that has been well maintained, updated to modern, and is available to you in that community at a price point you can afford. Those houses are more rare and lots of people want them, and that means they get multiple offers. I'm not telling you this is fair. I'm not telling you this is what we should want. I'm not telling you that this is the type of housing system that we should have built, but it is what we are working with right now.
I just watched my 87th TikTok about how a couple who was married and both have college degrees can't buy a house. Can we all just level for a second? There are people who come out of college that are educated. There are people who come out of college who are papered. And you know what I mean. I am done pretending that if you have a college degree, you are educated. Because I cannot, for the life of me, I cannot understand how someone who is going, I make $50,000 a year, and they cannot, for some reason, connect the fact that, babe, when you were 17, you signed a loan, an unforgivable loan, okay? An unforgivable, bankruptcy exempt loan from a college, which is basically a corporate hedge fund, because that's how they function. And they sold this to you, unethically, in my opinion. And they sold you something that you didn't know the rates on, you didn't understand, and that was going to be way more. You didn't even know how much you were going to pay, because you don't really know how much you're going to pay for college until you've already gone through it. And it doesn't take 4 years, it takes 5.5 years, at least, for most people. You
no, the fuck it doesn't.
Paid a ridiculous amount of money to make 0 to 5 years out of college. The median is $48K. You go up to the median college graduate like throughout their life until they retire. It's like 60 something, somewhere in there. It's not a lot. It's not enough to.
And that's why college is a sham, bro. Unless you're really trying to be a doctor or a lawyer, bro. Like you're really just paying for the experience, bro. It's not an investment. It's really not, bro. What an investment would be was actually learning a specialized skilled trade for real, and just specialization in something. You know, because at the end of the day, that's what the world's moving to, bro. You can't be a jack of all trades, anything. You got to be specialized and so good at one thing that you can't be replaced. That's where things are
Pay
headed.
back the amount of debt that most college graduates are taking on now. Is the economy bad? Yes. The economy's been bad before. But the thing that was never as bad is the cost of college, which doubles every 9 years.
Damn,
every
bro.
9 years.
I'm pretty sure there's something like Moore's Law where, like, you know, computer processing power, you know, increases every X amount of time. Sounds pretty similar. But damn, college doubling 9 years, that is absolutely fucking insane. Ah, my gosh. I think we got the gist of this. So let's see what the comments is talking about. The housing market in the U.S. is ridiculous to the point of almost criminal. Mortgages are steep and the rent is steep too. I mean, it's just like the jig is up, bro. We everyone knows we were born into a corrupt system, bro. Argue with me in the comments. I mean, I don't think anyone that comes across this video is gonna think that we weren't born in a corrupt system. Everything about this shit's corrupt, bro. Alright, but I'm single about a townhome last year because I don't need a lot of space. It's about the same, if not cheaper, than renting in most cases where I live. Yeah, makes sense. Same in Europe, Australia, Canada, it sucks. Why do these people need $600,000 to $800,000 homes? I put 20% on my home and my mortgage is less than $1,500 a month. I don't even make six figures, lol. Well, because you're not trying to be fancy, bro. What's the obsession with buying a home? If I can't afford it, then I can't buy it, which is fine. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's a status symbol, man. You know what I'm saying? But I'm really curious to see what you guys' comments, see what you guys' thoughts are in the comments down below. Excuse me. Yeah, it's your boy DD signing off, man. I mean, it's just what's new, man. I mean, it's kind of, there's always something, man. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully you guys like this. Tune in for the next one, and I'll catch you guys.